That's a sad go-to.
It is.
The fact that their go-to is that they hurt one of our players one time is such a sad way to go.
God.
Alan Lazard. Yeah, you try to put him down low because maybe you won't see him.
John, any last words before we hop off here?
Go Pack, go, baby.
Go Pack, go. The one thing that's keeping me from taking the Packers to win by 30.
I don't care if you go to every game, what game. Not only that, but you are in the second row.
Yeah.
The second row, and you're going to try to tell me to sit down? Get lost.
Get freaking lost.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in, commenting. We love chatting with you guys. Enjoy the game. Check us out on Twitter, at Rob Westerman3 for me, at JBeckman30 for John. Have a great rest of your day. Let's get a win, and let's go freaking bear hunting, all right? We'll catch you guys later. Thank you. What is going on, everybody? I am Rob Westerman of GBP Daily, and joining me tonight is the one and only Johnathan Beckman. John, how are we doing?
Doing good. I'm glad my prediction of what we said earlier, how you feeling on Sunday, I'm glad it really came true. Really good. It's always nice to go into a bye week and just sit here and chill and let everybody else beat each other up.
Yes, sir. You said it on Sunday. You said there was that feeling in the air that you thought something good was going to happen, and it did. So tonight we were supposed to have former Packers kicker Chris Jackie in the show, but due to some personal things coming up for him, he was not able to make it. But the show goes on, John. Let's talk some Packers, huh? Packers win 36-28 over the LA Rams this past weekend. Massive win over another top NFC opponent, Matthew Stafford. Yikes. I saw Andy Herman tweet the other day, you can take the Stafford out of Detroit, but you cannot take the Detroit out of the Stafford. He had a rough game, did he not?
Yeah. Man, I'm actually trying to pull it up on my phone. It says, how about this one? Matthew Stafford is 9-70 in his career versus teams with a winning record.
That is terrible.
9-70. One of my friends sent me that, and the thing is, like, that is terrible.
It's so bad. I mean, he was on the Detroit Lions, but
he was a part of a terrible team. How much is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Terrible team, terrible franchise. But he had Calvin Johnson.
Here's what I was also arguing earlier, yesterday or 2 days ago with my friends. I think that
you arguing with your friends? What?
Yeah, right. I think in Stafford's career, personally, I think he's probably in that 10 to 12 range, top 10 to 12 range in the last 10 years for quarterback, in my opinion. That was with Rodgers, Brady, Manning, Russell Wilson, Mahomes. Yeah, you know how that goes. Like those six like Hall of Famers on there. Drew Brees, those 6 Hall of Famers right there, most likely, and then a couple other guys. And I think he's kind of like that leader of the pack with the guys that are just outside of out of the the Hall of Fame career. I don't think he has no chance of making the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, unless all of a sudden he won back-to-back Super Bowls and MVPs.
Right.
And kind of a weird thing, he was kind of near the top, and not to go out on a huge Matt Stafford tangent, but I mean, like, he was near the top of probably MVP voting probably, 2 weeks ago? Like, yeah, near the top. And I mean,
because before their bye, they lost 2 straight, but before that, they were 7-1.
Yeah, I mean, he was right near the top. And
like,
I'd say this year more than any year was a chance for a Derrick Henry-like guy to win MVP, because none of the quarterbacks are really dominating this year. You can't sit here and say any of them have dominated like Rodgers did last year, or Mahomes did the year before, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you feel that too, but in my opinion, kind of a more of an evened out type thing. But
no, I'm with you. He really had a chance to kind of resurge his career, but he didn't. So
Well, pump the brakes.
No,
Pump the brakes.
he
He's
never
still
won a playoff game. Never.
He's still had a good season. He's had a good season, Rob.
Yeah,
So
no,
far.
he has. On the other hand, the guy across the field from him, Aaron Rodgers, didn't practice last week. He hasn't practiced in like basically a month, over a month.
Practice. Talking about practice.
Talking about practice. So he dominates. He goes 28 for 45, 307 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and yes, John, a rushing touchdown. All on just 9 toes.
A rushing touchdown.
He pumped out Jalen Ramsey. Oh, man. Does Raj need practice, John?
Hey, you know as much as anyone that I'm a huge, like, I hate that argument. That I don't think Aaron Rodgers needs the practice. No. I don't. And this is proving it.
Well, he came out slow against Minnesota, and everybody's like, practice matters. Practice matters.
He wasn't there. Yeah, first quarter, everyone practiced. Oh, it almost looks like we got a quarterback that doesn't need practice. Run the fucking ball. And I'm a huge run the ball guy too, and you know that. But it's like, dude, I'm telling you, as they say, he's a bad man.
He's a bad man, John. A special shout out to my pops, Bob Westerman, raised me to be a Packers fan, and I wake up every single day and thank the good Lord above that I am indeed a Green Bay Packers fan, because come on, John, it's the best team in the world. Can you imagine being a Bears fan, a Vikings fan?
Luck favors the prepared, but I mean, sometimes you can't. We can't do anything about that. Sometimes you gotta get, sometimes you gotta make decisions, but sometimes it's good when your parents make good decisions for you, right?
Speaking of luck, John, so my dad's from La Crosse, Wisconsin. That's on the Mississippi River. So that's legit. Like when you cross the Mississippi River, you're in La Crosse. Before you cross, you're in Minnesota. So if they would have landed a mile or two to the west, I could have been raised a Vikings fan. That would have just been absolutely terrible. Like absolutely terrible. Let's move on here. Big shout out to the O-line, man. Those guys held their own against the Rams front with Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, among others. Only allowed 1 sack. And that 1 sack was at the line of scrimmage when Raj tried to scramble. It was a 0-yard sack. I'm not going to call it a sack. It wasn't a legit sack, but it goes down as a sack. Josh Nijman. Did you see him pancake Aaron Donald?
I did. I saw that today. I saw that video today.
If he wouldn't have gotten pancaked, or if he wouldn't have started choking Lucas Patrick, I wouldn't have known he played.
Hey, that's what Roger said. Sometimes, I mean, and it's true. I mean, a lot of times you forgot that Josh and I think the interior of the line is what the problem was right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's been the problem, I feel like.
It's been the problem.
Royce Newman, JRJ, Lucas Patrick at center.
If unfortunately, Elton Jenkins was hopefully going to be that guy to kind of change that.
Now he's out for the rest of the year, and he'll miss some of next year too. If it's on the same timeline as D-Bach, like
yeah, I mean,
you never be back till.
You never know, though. I mean, what week did D-Bach get hurt? Week 7?
December 31st was when he got hurt.
Yeah, it was.
So we're right around almost 11 months right now.
Yeah.
So if he comes back in 10.5 months, let's say that's a good scenario. That's mid-October, or that's early October, late September.
That's the thing. Sometimes they were thinking that he might come back in week 6, week 7. So there's definitely a
possibility he could
be back by the start of the year. And I mean, whatever. Not whatever, but like, hey, even if you missed a couple games, but I mean, we're so far away from there that.
Yeah, we'll be Super Bowl champs by then. Roger will have signed an extension. That'll be the least of our worries. D-Bach will be healthy. Royce Newman and JRJ, Billy Turner, all those guys are going to be well-established stars in the O-line. Josh Myers, when he comes back, same thing. Another note from Sunday, John. Devontae Adams. It doesn't matter who's lined up across from him, whether it's man, whether it's zone. If it is man, if it is press, and if it's in the slot, it's over. No one's guarding this guy regardless. Had 8 catches, 104 yards, I think on just 9 targets. So caught 8 of 9. And Jalen Ramsey, when guarding him, was absolutely no match. He had the quick slant
The
move.
5 for 5.
What did
Was
you
it?
say? 5 for 5, 4 for 4. When Jalen was in the vicinity of the catch point.
Of Adam. I felt like it was 7 for 7 for Rodgers and 5 for 5 for Adams.
Yes, when
Right?
they play a lot of zone, they don't, they're not the
Yeah, right.
Patriots where they're putting Revis on Jordy and still getting toasted. This is, their defense is a little different, and Jalen Ramsey's good, but Devontae is just better. Are we going to resign Devontae? Is that a no-brainer? Like, we're not going to go through some drama-filled with him, are we? Because
hey, I'm not trying to say that the franchise is all Aaron Rodgers and this, but my wife keeps asking me all the time. We were watching the Seattle game last night, and I mean, I had fantasy implications online, and I needed Russell Wilson to play better. And I kept talking about how bad they were. Like, they looked horrible. And my wife keeps asking me, what are you going to do when that's the Packers? What are you going to do when that's the Packers? And, like, well,
you're asking the right questions, though. What are we going to do?
She's like, is that going to happen? And I'm sitting there and I'm like,
it very well could. If he leaves, that could be us for a couple
we don't
years,
have Rodgers,
couple decades.
We don't have Adams. We still have Aaron Jones. We still have Ellen Jenkins, David Bakhtiari. We still got A.J. Dillon. Like, so don't get me wrong. We're not going to be trash. But, hey, it's pretty hard to replace the top quarterback of the last 10 years statistically and the best
of all
statistical receiver of the last 4 years.
If we lose them, we're rebuilding. Parker Moe says, I was at the game on Sunday. Such a great win. Loved it.
I wanted to go to that game really bad, but I keep holding out because if I go to one game,
there's a playoff home game.
I want to go to a playoff game.
We're there. If there's a playoff home game and there's a home NFC Championship game. So the thing is, if there's a home playoff game and we're the 1 seed, are you going to hold out and hope we win and then go to the NFC Championship game?
Well, I'm in Hawaii until the 13th. I get home that Wednesday.
January.
So I think wild card weekend I would be in. I think wild card weekend I'm in Hawaii, and then I come back, and the week after that might be divisional round. So, I'd have to check on that. I don't know what that status is, but would I hold out? I don't. It kind of depends on the situation.
Would you just go to both?
Go to both.
I mean, you go to the divisional round.
Yeah.
We get whoever's ours we're playing, and then we have a home NFC Championship game against, say, the Buccaneers or the Cowboys, or you can't not go.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be tough to pass up going to a home game, especially if they played like Tampa Bay at home or something like that. But like, I would definitely want to. I would debate holding out, knowing if we had a home game, knowing that hey, if we win, we guarantee that like an NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Say they were the 2 seed though, then it's like, well, we're risking.
Yeah, you just never.
We not only need to win, we also need the Cardinals or whoever else is up there to lose. So you got to go. Okay, let's get back on track here. Another receiver, unfortunately, was ruled out during halftime, but still put up some numbers. Randall Cobb, 4 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. He did have the muff punt, John, but he made up for it in my eyes. You hoping to see Cobby back out there in a couple of weeks against the Bears in punt return, or do you want Amari Rodgers to give it a go again?
God.
Amari just
don't talk to me about punt return.
I'm just bummed because I'm rooting for Amari Rodgers to be good. Everybody thought he would, but he's just not ready.
Yeah,
he doesn't run. He doesn't run. And
here's the thing about Cobb: he dropped that ball, but Cobb's got one of those guys that he did that, and then what did he do? He had the 50-yard catch.
The next possession, and then the touchdown.
He's the type of guy that he's a veteran. He can bounce back. Amari's probably still going through that headspace of, like, what can I do?
If I mess up again, I'm getting cut.
Cobb has that mentality that I mess up, get me the ball again, because I'm about to fucking make it right.
And Rodgers is going to listen to him. Hey, you brought him back, and all the haters are mad that Randall Cobb is just owning. He's been great this year, And unfortunately,
I mean, he's been situationally very
third
good.
downs. I mean, come
Which
on.
is what we talked about, right? Like in Packers Bears games, like he'll make that 3rd and 7 play. Like
That
I mean,
changes the game or extends the.
that makes it makes a big. I mean, he was our big guy against Arizona. He
Yeah,
had 2 touchdowns against Arizona. We had no receivers, and he was the
he showed
only
up.
guy.
Yeah, no, he showed up. I'm glad he's back. I didn't realize he'd have this big of an impact. At the time, we had obviously everybody. Juwan Winfrey was coming on the scene. What was the receiver? I'm blanking from the Panthers. What's his name? Big guy.
Devin Funchess.
Devin Funchess. We had Devin Funchess. I was hoping he'd be good. But no, he showed up. So let's switch it over to the defense here. A lot of guys we got to highlight from Sunday. No better guy to start with, John, than Kenny Clark. He's just been an absolute rock for this defense so far this year. Run defense and pass defense, he's elite. 6 total tackles on Sunday and a sack. And not only those stats, but it seemed like all game he was tossing guys around like rag dolls. Like he's the guy that everybody says Aaron Donald is. I think the last few weeks, he's still the guy. But Kenny Clark doesn't get talked about enough. He's right up there with him. And I think overall that position just doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that comes from. I'm glad we locked him up. I think he's only 26.
Yeah, he's only 26. Rashawn Gary's only 23.
That is nuts.
Jair's probably what, 24?
Stokes 21, 22.
Yeah.
Like our
Darnell Savage is young.
Yeah, our defense is going to be good for a while. Speaking of Rashawn, clearly he was missed during that Vikings game because we all saw the difference he makes when he's out there. He was going up against Andrew Whitworth, one of the best left tackles in the game.
Who's allowed the least pressures at tackle this year? I think it was 7.
It was like 7?
9. It was 7 or 9. And
7 total pressures. How many did Rashawn have?
How many pressures in the game?
4?
I thought it was like 4. Yeah, I thought it was like 4.
So he legit almost had all the pressures he's allowed all year long. And we're deep in the year. It's not, we don't have a bye week in week 7. It's week 13. And Rashawn goes out there kind of hobbled with that elbow that he hyperextended 2 weeks ago. And boom, forces the fumble on Stafford. Preston Smith picks it up. We only get a field goal out of it. Still, game-changing play. Did you weren't a part of the Rashawn Gary was a bust crowd, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was a part of the what pick did we have? 12? It was a 14.
Yep.
I was part of the are we gonna just miss out on those
Brian Burns, the other guy that comes to mind.
Brian Burns and
Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, and then is Ed Oliver the one that went to Kentucky?
No? I believe so, yes.
Was it? Yeah. So I was like, oh, we're just gonna miss out on those guys.
Elite guys. And we did.
And then we got him, and then I learned a little bit more about him. They're people are like, oh, Green Bay reached on him. He's a freak athlete because he really is. I mean, that
40 time was insane.
He's like AJ Dillon in defensive form, just like a
monster.
You just look at him and you're just like, shit.
That's what Andrew Whitworth was saying last week. All right, another game changing player, Rasul Douglas. Man, this guy is becoming a beast. Can you imagine if we didn't have him?
He had his best game of his career rated by PFF.
Right, he was on a practice squad before we signed him to our 53. How big of a pickup is Rasul, especially considering Jair, Kevin King, Isaac Yadam has been great on special teams. He's not seeing the field at the corner.
I mean,
Eric Stokes.
You have to have multiple corners in today's NFL. I mean, you just have to.
You got to have 3 solid.
Look at the Rams have a freaking incredible one in Jalen Ramsey, and it's still Rodgers still threw for 300 yards.
He was picking on guys.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd like Jair back, but you know what? Here's the biggest thing for me that I do kind of at this point. I guess sidetracking a little bit. So our big 3 guys to come back. I asked you earlier this year who you thought was most important to come back.
Z, D-Bach, or Jair?
Jair. So right now, I don't know what you answered a few weeks ago.
I think I answered Jair.
I want you to answer it again. And at this point in the season, it's changed. As far not your answers changed, guaranteed. I'm saying where we are a team as a team.
So who do I want to come back, or who do I think would be the most impactful between D-Bach, Jair, Za'Darius? See, that's tough because I'm not quite settled on the O-line yet. I think there's some issues that were covered up. I mean, A.J. Dillon just pounding and pounding and pounding. That kind of holds off the rush a little bit, and Rodgers gets the ball out when he needs to for the most part. So kind of hides those O-line issues. They played well, but we were at home. It's cold. We got hot. But man, Za'Darius, you add him to that pass rush. I'm gonna still go with Jair though, because I think Chandon hasn't been playing that well lately. I feel like all the teams they target him, they target Henry Black, and it doesn't end up well. So even if we have Jair back, and maybe I saw somebody tweet the other day, put Douglas in the slot. He's physical, he can cover. Put him in the slot, Stokes, Jair on the outside, and we're good to go. So I'm going to stick with Jair. I mean, he's the best corner in the league, arguably. Maybe, if not, put him at 2 or 3. But regardless, the best corner in the NFC. He's better than Jalen Ramsey. Somebody was trying to tell me that J.C. Jackson was better than Jair Alexander. I was like, J.C. Jackson, yeah, he's having a bunch of picks, yeah, but no, he's not.
That's like saying Quandre Diggs is just because he has 8 picks. Like, I get it. The guy's got picks, but he
gets burned.
He's gotten burned. Right. My answer to that question.
Yeah, let's hear from you. Jair, D-Bach, or Z?
If I remember correctly, 6 weeks ago, I think it was Jair and then David Bakhtiari and then Za'Darius.
Yep.
I'm almost slightly wondering if I'm leaning towards Bakhtiari being 1 and Jair 2, because I think the defense has played really well without Jair, but that
we gave up 28. We gave up 28 points last game.
I know, but I mean we played a really
good team. 31 the week before.
I know, but it's and I know we only allowed 1 sack, and it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, Josh.
It wasn't
Josh played well, but it still stings me to this day what happened last year in the NFC Championship game, not having David Bakhtiari. Rodgers was under pressure. I think the stat was around 45% of his throws, and Brady was under pressure. I think 12 or 15% of his throws, and that was with Za'Darius Smith. So if Za'Darius Smith isn't going to make that impact in that game, then I don't know. Then I'm sitting here going, it's got to be Bakhtiari and Jair.
That's a good answer.
So
they're both equally as important.
I have a hard time. I think they're both.
And they're both the best at their position, arguably.
Yeah, they're arguably both the best at their position. With respect to Bakhtiari, he's been doing it longer. So I give the nod to him being the better overall player.
Oh, I would agree.
So
I would agree. And if Rashawn Gary wasn't having a breakout year, I think my answer might even sway to Z.
Yeah.
Because Preston, he's been playing good, but it is what it is.
Preston's played well in situational. He played well against the Vikings. Didn't he have 2 sacks or something like that?
Yeah, Preston's been having some big games.
Yeah.
So Krendler from Facebook says, with how A.J. Dillon is playing, was paying Aaron Jones necessary or unnecessary? Sorry. John, I'm going to let you go ahead and take this one.
It's so easy to look back, and now that A.J. Dillon. What if A.J. Dillon's just having a good 6-8 game spree? I don't know. Maybe he's not the type of guy that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's not good enough, but you never know. I mean, Aaron Jones has proven himself over the last couple of years. The dude's he's a highlight machine waiting to happen.
Yeah, any play he can take to the house. That's one of the things.
Here's the deal. You need a 1-2 punch in the NFL nowadays. You have to.
You have to. With 17 games now, especially.
You have to have a 1-2 punch. And if we weren't going to pay him, someone else was. And then what? Okay.
We have A.J. Dillon and then who? Jamal Williams?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like
We probably wouldn't have been able to pay Jamal either.
you have AJ Dillon and Jamal Williams. Well, AJ Dillon, I think, is a better Jamal Williams with respect to Jamal
Oh
Williams.
yeah, similar type backs. They're bigger. They pound it.
They're bigger. They're similar backs. So like you need that guy. You need which is why like it works well with the Saints when they have Kamara healthy and then a Mark Ingram. Like you got that two-way punch. You know, something like Christian McCaffrey and then like I don't know,
Mike
when they had like
Davis,
Mike
when they used to
Tolbert
have
or Mike Davis or whatever.
Mike
Like,
Tolbert, he's a friggin' tank.
shit. I
That dude
mean,
was a tank.
yeah, I think it was definitely necessary to. I'm not
I think so too.
complaining.
And we
I
didn't
know
pay him top of the market money anyways. He took a little pay cut to stay with us. Like
there's always that crowd that always, oh, don't pay running backs, and I get it, but it's like, dude, he's more than just the running back. He's good for the team, the locker room, and yeah, that does matter. Whether you want to say it does or not, it matters when you have guys that are reliable.
You ask guys how they won the Super Bowl, and it's because the camaraderie, the team, the team togetherness overall is the biggest reason. Which obviously why in 2010,
and both of these guys are both AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Like they're not. It's not about if AJ scores, Aaron Jones is happy, and vice versa. So I mean,
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Let's move on to the negatives here from this last weekend's game. Chandon Sullivan, wasn't all his fault when Van Jefferson scored that 70-something yard touchdown. It looked like to me Adrian Amos kind of bit on that underneath route to Cooper Kupp, leaving him all alone, against the speedster. He was step for step with him, but just tripped over his feet. That stuff happens. However, we've been giving up big plays in back-to-back weeks now, whether it's to Justin Jefferson, Van Jefferson, OBJ even, Adam Thielen, which used to be a strength of ours as far as not giving up the big play. You think that's a point of emphasis during the bye week to get this fixed as far as like the self-scouting they're going to be doing this week?
And we play the Bears, and the Bears like deep threat is probably Darnell Mooney or something like that. I mean,
Darnell Mooney.
I mean, hey, he did go for 100 against Green Bay a few weeks ago, and even though we knocked him, right?
He's a scrub.
But then after that, then we've got the Ravens, and you know what the Ravens are? They're a run team, but with Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown can be that.
Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews. I feel like we're going to get tore up by Mark Andrews, but we'll still win.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know our safeties haven't played as well the last 2 weeks, but they help in the run.
They've been very opportunistic. They've been trying to get fixed.
Darnell Savage had a ridiculously good – he was running up on Odell early in the game. He was going to get him on a short, like 3rd and 3.
But he was throwing behind him.
Amos had the massive play on the 4th and inches.
Fourth down, that was insane.
That was a huge play.
There were so many big plays in that game.
Yeah,
by the defense.
Yeah, he let up. I think it looked like he maybe was a part, and I could be wrong, a part of letting up that Odell Beckham touchdown too, because it looked like he was kind of chasing on that.
It looked like he kind of bit too.
Yeah, I think they were biting because they just saw. I think he thought it was going to be a slant because they run so many crossing routes in LA. That
got sucked in. Next up for negatives. So for the most part, Mason Crosby in the field goal unit, they look to be back on track. Mason went 3 of 4 overall in field goals, was perfect on the day, and they were good kicks. Besides the last one, that would have pretty much iced the game. However, the weather on Sunday was pretty cold, a little windy. Can we give him a pass?
I'll give him a pass. I know it sounds stupid, but the extra points were mostly good, except the first one I think was terrible. But
that was so close.
That one almost went out to the left, and that was gross. Hey, most years and most games, we'll take 3
for 4.
We'll take 3 for 4. It sucked. And the 42-yarder that he missed, it hit the upright. It wasn't missed by 4 yards. Like
it was close.
I mean, I'm not trying to look at our glass half full thing here, because that missing that field goal still disappointed the hell out of me. So
it did
even if he would have gone 4 for 4 for me, I think we need a 3-4 game stretch of good kicking before I sit here and feel confident, because one game doesn't do it for me. Two games.
I'm with you. I was watching the special teams coordinator for the Packers press conference a couple days ago, yesterday actually, and he said he was pumped the whole game. And that last kick, he said it dug at him. He wanted to celebrate the win, but that last kick it still dug at him yesterday. So we'll let it pass. I know they're gonna keep working on it and get better, but it is what it is.
We need to get our kick return team better, our punt return team better,
kickoff coverage unit better.
If it wasn't for Corey Bajorquez,
he's been an absolute monster, hasn't he?
Oh God, he's been freaking. I mean, I hope hopefully he's just.
He'll keep going. Other news: John Devondre Campbell has been put on the COVID-19 reserve list as of today. Thankfully, we've got a bye week, and it should not impact his status for the Bears game in 2 weeks. Hoping he recovers quickly. Next, Aaron Rodgers. He's got the broken toe. We all saw that did not stop him from carving up the legit Rams defense last weekend. However, John, it is a legit concern as he keeps harping on and says it hurts like heck. Like, it's going to be a problem for the rest of the season probably. He said today in the McAfee show that he'll get it reevaluated early next week to determine whether or not to have surgery on it. Regardless of the route he'll go, he said he won't miss any time. So that's a positive. All right, this is kind of go ahead.
Hey, you would think the worst would have already came at this point of it hurting him and I mean, the guy's, to me, it looks like he's running around fine. It just looks like when he gets hit, it just hurts. Because honestly,
outside of him getting hit, I wouldn't have known.
You couldn't, if you told me that he basically you could tell me that he didn't have an injury and I'd believe you.
No,
so
I get it.
That's a good thing. It's not like the calf injury a few years ago where
it's clearly hobbling him. When he hits Jordy down the middle of the field against the Bears game and he's limping down the field, yelling at Lucas Patrick to get off the field. And it's clearly that was rough. All right. This is kind of a makeshift show. Obviously, last second change. No show notes, no nothing. We just hopped on, talked some Packers like we love to do. We figured it'd be a good idea to kind of give a little predictions. We do our Sunday pick'ems for the players who want to score first. You and I, John, the last 4 or 5 years have been doing that, which I won last weekend, thankfully, ending the 7-game losing streak, which is just ridiculous on something that's like a 50-50.
And you got it on a Rodgers touchdown, too.
Yeah, I called it. I completely called it. Aaron Rodgers rushing touchdown. I'm going to get it. And it worked.
Did I almost have it with Devontae, too? No,
you didn't.
No, that was was Devontae's where he went down on the one. That was the next touchdown, probably.
Yeah, that was later. So we're gonna do something similar here. We're gonna predict our top 7, final 7 for the NFC standings. The NFC side to get in the playoffs. You want to go first, John?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's do it. Top 7. You want to start with 7?
Ooh, I'll start with 7. But that makes it harder because you got to really figure it out. So as it stands right now, let's just make sure. Do you have another spot where you can put what it stands at right now at all? Do you have another?
I have it up here, but I don't have it pulled over. You want me to read it off, or you want to read it off?
Yeah. So right now, no. I was gonna say if you could type it in. Are you able to type it in the middle?
I can type. It's just I gotta copy and paste all that stuff. I gotta have it. It takes too much time. I don't want to waste anybody's time watching.
Yeah, no, you're good. So so we got the Cardinals, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Dallas, Rams, 49ers, Washington, and that's your top 7. With the first teams out being Vikings, Falcons, Saints. I could be wrong, but I feel like if the Cardinals lose this week,
we'll take over the 1 seed.
That puts Green Bay in the 1 seed because we have the tiebreaker. Plus, Green Bay is 7-2 in the conference, which is big because Tampa Bay is 5-3. Cardinals are 5-2. So if the Cardinals manage to lose another one, that's big. So I'll
let you pick your 7. I'll pick my 7. You pick your 6. I'll pick my 6, and so on. That work?
Okay, that's fine.
Perfect.
So with number 7, It's gonna be.
So right down there, it's the Washington football team, Saints, Falcons, Vikings. I don't necessarily see any other teams bumping into that, but it's so close as far as the records go, it could very well happen.
Yeah.
Who you going with?
I'm going to go with the 49ers at 7.
Okay.
Because of strength of schedule that I'm looking at. But I could be wrong.
See, this one's tough for me because I know I don't want it to happen, but I know it's going to happen. I'm going to put the Vikings there.
Okay.
They don't have the toughest schedule either. So they just lost to the 49ers, so that could come up big.
But
yep.
Go ahead.
They got Lions next week. Dub. Steelers the week after that. Probably a dub. Bears, probably a dub. Rams, probably a loss. Packers, probably a loss. And then Bears at home to finish it, probably a win. So they're going to go 4-2 over the next 6 games.
Yeah, so that's why I've got the Vikings at 6 for me.
Ooh, okay.
I've got the Vikings at 6 for me because I've got the 49. I think that they'll finish stronger than the 49ers. The reason being is, let's see here. I think the 49ers, the Seahawks, but they've got the Bengals, they've got the Titans, and they've got the Rams. So that could be 3 losses.
Yep.
Right there. And that, but they, shit. Do they have the?
You're going with the Vikings.
I don't know what the tiebreaker is here, but we
don't got time to figure it out either.
Yeah, we don't have time to figure it out. So let's just, because honestly, I could be making a bad prediction based off based off that, and I could have it flipped. So yeah, go ahead.
See, with that, we have ours flipped. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I really wanted to take the Washington football team, but they're playing the Raiders next week in Las Vegas. Then the Cowboys at home, at Philly, at Dallas, Eagles at home, at the Giants to end the year. I think they'll lose at least 2, if not 3 of those. So I'm going to go 49ers. They'll probably just miss it. Washington football team probably get the 8th seed. So that stinks. Who you got for 5?
I'm trying to pull up the.
I've got mine locked in from this point on.
All right, you give me your 5.
All right, my 5. LA Rams. I know they didn't look that great this last week, and they still put up 28 points. And take out a fumble and a pick 6. This game is completely different. So I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Rams too, because I think that they are your top team that's not gonna win a division. So that's me.
I agree.
So now comes an interesting part that I think I'm envisioning something that's gonna happen. So
I know exactly where I'm going next for here.
So I'm gonna do this, and I don't. How about this? You write down. I don't know if you have a piece of paper.
Okay.
But you write down your 1 through 4, and I'm going to write down my 1 through 4.
All right, I'm gonna take the screen off, and I'm gonna write mine down, and then I'll just pull it up. Does that work?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, you ready?
Hold on.
This is fairly easy for me. All right, I'm ready whenever you are.
Just give me 1 second, please. Where in the world is
this? Is interesting. Are we going to be homers? Are we going to be haters? It's going to come down to the 1st or 2nd seed. We'll see kind of how it turns out here.
I don't know. I think I might have a surprise for you. All right, I'm I'm ready for you. I just gotta do this.
Packers, Buccaneers, Cardinals, Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Bucs, huh?
I think the Bucs have an easy schedule. I do.
Good gracious. Yeah, they play the Falcons, Bills, Saints, Panthers, Jets, Panthers.
They've got one of the easiest schedules left in the NFL. The Panthers
That's
twice,
ridiculous.
the Jets, the Saints, and
they lost to the Saints earlier.
And the Bills. Like, yeah, I know, but this is a different Saints, though. You know, I don't think the Saints is. I just think the Saints doesn't have the steam it had early in the season. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I'll fill yours in then here.
The part that'd be hard would be the Bills. So here's my guess. I think Tampa Bay has a chance to 2, 4, 5, go 5-1, 6-0. I mean, they could really win out. I think I see when I look at the Cardinals schedule, I see win versus the Bears, win versus the Lions, but they've got the Rams, Colts, Cowboys, and you know what I think does them in against a terrible team? I think Seattle could come in and beat them. I think Seattle's terrible, but would it surprise you? I mean, honestly, would it surprise you? That division.
I mean, if they start feeding the ball to DK more than once a game, then yes.
I could totally see it. But, I mean, dude, they got the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Rams. That's three. That's three playoff teams.
Three playoff teams.
And then the Seahawks that are terrible are still.
Is it at Seattle?
Unfortunately, no.
Dang.
That would be huge for us.
If it was at Seattle, I'd be on board with you, but I don't know if I'm gonna.
But still, that's 3 games, right? As opposed to look at the Buccaneers, their hardest game is Buffalo, which is obviously a good team, but that's like their only one.
And it's at home. It's at home against Buffalo, so it's completely different. All right. I've got the Packers, Cardinals, Bucks, Cowboys, Rams, Niners, Vikings. And you got Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams, Vikings, Niners.
And you look at Green Bay. Green Bay's got Bears, Ravens, Browns, Vikings, Lions. If Green Bay goes 5-1 in that time span, I mean Green Bay's gonna have the tiebreaker over a lot of these teams because they've got a good conference record. Because the Buccaneers have 3 losses in the conference and Green Bay has 2. Well, if one of Green Bay's losses is to the Ravens
or the Browns,
then they still win the conference.
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
the conference record. So,
no, I'm with you.
I get it. It might be being a little bit of homer, but I mean, I think that it's a definite possibility.
And that would conclude our 13-4 season predictions that we did before the season. That would, if you're 5-1, lone loss being to the Ravens. Hopefully not. But no, that's it. You want to close it down?
Yeah.
Any last words?
Yeah, I'm still wondering about my Vikings 49ers one. That one, I don't know if that's possible. I know I'm overthinking it.
Hey,
Rob.
This was a makeshift show. We didn't have any show notes. We didn't have anything. It was the last second. Like we had 10 minutes to say, all right, you want to talk about the Rams game?
Tiebreaker would be, so that can definitely change it.
No, this was a makeshift show, so we did a pretty good job. All right.
You want that bye week too.
Gotta have that bye.
It's like you don't want to see us have to go play the Vikings then in week.
No, that would be absolutely terrible.
It'd be terrible. I mean, we play them in week 16 or 17 now. Don't want to play them in 2 weeks later.
You get beat in the playoffs. Like, come on. You want to? Any last words, John? You ready to close it down?
I'm ready to go.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep an eye out for an update on when or if Chris Jackie will be back on. We have yet to reach communication with him. We will hopefully find out soon. Follow us on Twitter at Rob Westerman for myself and at JBeckman30 for John. Have a great rest of your night, and we will catch you guys later. Thank you.